In the latest heart-stopping episode of Love and Hip Hop, everything took a dark, unexpected turn when Rami Malek's turned into official revelations. The turmoil that transpired on air when one name that of a child Kirk allegedly concealed was revealed astounded viewers. Rasheeda wasn't the only one who failed to see this coming. Began to show indications of stress in the area, which could have caused the glass to crack. The damage was done, despite producers' best efforts to shift the subject. What the other cast members were reluctant to say was finally conveyed by a visibly irritated one. Did you really think this secret would never be known? A quiet was followed by chaos. Rasheeda's look, more than the revelation, was the most amazing part. As her entire face froze, the room zoomed in to capture that moment of suffering. Fans watching from home lit up social media in disbelief, with one person saying, "Please tell me this isn't happening." But this was only the beginning. Because what follows will make you evaluate everything you believed to be true about Kirk, Frost's life, and the authenticity of their alleged bond. A day that started off as routine swiftly became. While the news of Kirk's secret child reached millions of people, it had the biggest effect on his wife, Rasheeda. After this shocking discovery, everyone was overcome with shock, and a slew of unexpected events followed. Not only would the ensuing uproar append his family, but the entertainment industry as a whole. Kirk told her the truth, which startled and disbelieved her. What she had believed to be a safe and trusting world started to fall apart before her very eyes. She had been helping her husband for years, so she was shocked to hear that he had been keeping this huge secret from her. Everyone could see that her emotions were out of control and that this was the worst blow to her life. Since there was no way to reverse the damage, he felt powerless now that the knowledge was public. Although he had always thought he could keep this secret from others, he had to confront the reality now that Rasheeda was looking at him with a confused and hurt expression. He desperately tried to explain, saying, "I never wanted you to find out. It's not what you think." Rasheeda was so affected by emotion, by the betrayal, that I am at a loss for words. You claim that it's complicated because you have a secret child, the details of which you have long kept hidden from me. Her voice trailed off in shock and rage, and her eyes were full of tears. "How could you do this to me?" "What?" she asked. Kirk stood there helpless, unable to respond to her comments, unable to offer any explanation that would improve the situation, and unable to make amends for the hurt he had caused. The revelation affected more people than just Kirk and Rasheeda. All of the cast and crew were shocked when Jasmine Blue, a key cast member renowned for her direct and frequently contentious opinions, was among the first to comment on the problem. She said, "To be honest, I'm not surprised. It was only a matter of time till this was released. I always knew something wasn't right." Jasmine's revelation surprised everyone, and her nonchalant tone gave the impression that she had known all along. Which begs the question, had she known this secret for a long time? And if so, why hadn't she told anyone sooner? While waiting, the Twitter was inundated with reactions from fans who were outraged and incredulous by the current chaos. This is unfair to his family, according to one admirer, who said, "If it is true, Kirk has a lot of explaining to do. It's about real life now, not just the show," said another admirer. Kirk has a lot to answer for. The news was obviously going viral on social media, and Kirk was angry that his secret had been revealed. He also couldn't help but wonder if things would have gone differently. "Maybe I should have told her sooner," he thought, "but I was afraid of her reaction and didn't want to lose her." Rasheeda struggled to comprehend what had occurred. Her world flipped upside down, and she continued reliving the events in her head to attempt to make sense of it. What prevented him from having enough faith in me to discuss this with me? How could her husband have kept such a big secret from her, she asked. Rasheeda's emotional toll was undeniable. She felt duped by the same person and was equally unhappy, furious, and perplexed. "This is something I never saw coming, and I don't know how to handle it," she whispered to a close friend. But Kirk felt he had to try to make things right despite his awful regret. So he tried to explain his actions to Rasheeda. But it felt like a lie now, even though she had always thought of Kirk and herself as a team, collaborators. Rasheeda wasn't prepared to listen to him. "No, Kirk," she yelled angrily. "You have to deal with the fallout after hiding from me for years. You're not allowed to offer excuses. I know I made a mistake and I'm sorry, but I need you to understand that I never meant to hurt you. The situation, it is complicated and I wasn't sure how to handle it. I guess I can ignore this." The road to recovery was long and uncertain, and the couple's relationship had been put to the test in ways never seen before. As the days passed, additional information regarding the case surfaced, and Jasmine, who had previously shared her opinions on this is not just about the youngster Jasmine mentioned. "I can guarantee you that you people are unaware of what's truly going on behind the scenes." She went so far as to suggest that Kirk had been keeping several secrets. Remarks sent fans into a frenzy. Did she know about the hidden child long before it became public knowledge? This was a pivotal moment in Kirk and Rasheeda's relationship. Their relationship's future was in doubt, and nobody knew what would happen next. Would they be able to work things out and reunite? Or was this the end of their relationship? Kirk was attempting to conceal from the world what else had been concealed. The drama involving Kirk and Rasheeda was far from over, and it seemed that additional details would soon be revealed. Rasheeda's existence revolved around Kirk. But now he was a stranger and someone she could no longer trust, since the secret was too great for them to ignore. They tried to process the news of Kirk's hidden child, fans, the family, and everyone else involved in the drama went through a flurry of emotions. Kirk felt terrible and found it difficult to find the right words to apologize to Rasheeda, but each time he opened his mouth, it felt like they were getting farther apart. The hurt, the anger, the disbelief that she had every right to be upset, and the harm done were all there to him in her eyes. Trust had been broken by the disclosure, and now everything depended on it. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was struggling emotionally. She felt angry, hurt, and devastated all at once. She had given Kirk so much of herself, and she felt betrayed in the most terrible way. Kurt wondered if their marriage would withstand such a test, and if things would ever return to normal. Rasheeda's remarks were like a kick to the gut, because Kirk had never seen her like this before. She was a strong woman who had always supported him no matter what. She said in a voice that was shaking with passion, "How could you hide something so huge from me? I trusted you with everything." He whispered, "Rasheeda, I never meant for this to happen," his voice barely audible above a whisper. "I never wanted to hurt you. I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I could protect you from all of this." But Rasheeda wasn't. Sold, she had lost interest in excuses. "You think you can protect me by not telling me the truth?" With her anger growing, she shook her head and added, "No, Kirk, this isn't about protection. This is about betrayal." As the discussion grew more heated, everyone involved recognized the gravity of the situation, and the spectators were also eagerly awaiting what would come next. After the news went viral, everyone had an opinion. Social media was plenty of comments, memes, and fan responses from people who were amazed by what they were witnessing. Some defended Kirk's actions and said he should be given another chance to change his ways. Others, on the other hand, were firmly in Rasheeda's corner and denounced Kirk's deceit and insincerity. A fan wrote on Twitter, "Kirk is done. He lost all credibility with Rasheeda and the fans. He can't come back from this." People's sympathy for Kirk's situation was evident from the overwhelming support for Rasheeda. One fan commented, "Rasheeda deserves better than this. She's been through so much already. This is too much for her to handle." Kirk wasn't alone in feeling pressured, since Jasmine Blue, who had been outspoken about the issue from the beginning, was now the subject of even greater controversy. After teasing her fans with further startling details about the secret child, she asked, "You think this is the worst of it? You have no idea what's really going on behind the scenes?" Jasmine hinted in an interview, "Kirk's life is more than just being a kid. Some secrets are unknown to everyone." Jasmine's cryptic comments fueled the speculation, and now fans wanted to know what else Kirk had been hiding. Did he have any other secrets? Would Rasheeda face any more stress or uncertainty? Rasheeda struggled to remain calm. The betrayal had prevented her from focusing on anything else, and her love for Kirk had been tainted with bitterness, leaving her to question whether she would ever be able to look at him the same way again. She spent most of her days by herself, attempting to understand the grief. Rasheeda told her closest friends, "I don't even know who you are anymore." She started to doubt every part of her relationship with her husband, but she also recognized she had to make some decisions since she couldn't continue to live in limbo and couldn't trust him. As the days passed, the public outcry continued, with the media relentlessly covering every move Kirk and Rasheeda made. The drama grabbed people, and it became a popular topic. Kirk felt trapped. What kind of life is this? What? Ever be able to trust him again? She said out loud, "I need help." "I don't know how to fix this," he said to a close friend. While Rasheeda was still processing her feelings, she wasn't ready to forgive Kirk yet, and she wasn't sure if she even wanted to try to rebuild trust because she knew it wouldn't happen overnight. "Everything is collapsing because of a terrible error I made. You've done too much damage," she said. And in a voice shaking with emotion, "I don't know if I can ever forgive you." Kirk was faced with the awful reality that the woman he had loved and spent so many years with was doubting everything, and their relationship's future appeared uncertain. The more people looked into Kirk's past, the more secrets seemed to come to light, and his hidden child was just the beginning. How far would Rasheeda go, and what else was Kirk hiding? Kirk doubted his ability to straighten things out. Rasheeda no longer trusted him, and now he had to deal with the fallout. The media, family, and fans were all on edge, waiting to see how this fantastic drama would unfold. And Kirk was confined in A. The media would not be letting him off the hook anytime. Soon he realized quickly after the flurry of public attention surrounding the hidden child. In the days that followed, Rasheeda's trust had been damaged. The foundation of their marriage had been shattered, and the emotional damage was still not fully healed. So he had to worry about more than just the public as their amours continued, each one more scandalous than the last. Although Rasheeda had always been a strong woman, the exposure made her feel as though she was losing herself. She wondered how she had let herself be so taken by surprise, and how she had failed to recognize all the warning signs. She spent restless nights mentally reliving every moment, and she found it difficult to confront the truth of her circumstances. She sobbed to him at the end of one of their infrequent but intense conversations, saying, "I created with you, I supported you, and you did this to me." She said, "I don't even recognize you anymore." Her voice was obviously angry, but it was also tinged with a deep sadness that pierced her words. Her children's father had been lying to her for years, hiding the identity of another kid. He felt terrible for betraying her, but he also knew that no amount of apology could undo the damage he had caused. He wanted to explain, apologize, and somehow make things right because he had betrayed the person and ruined something irreparably. But he had no idea how to do it, and Rasheeda's eyes remained cold no matter what he said. "I didn't want to hurt you," said Rasheeda Kirk in a remorseful, barely audible voice. "I thought that by keeping it from you, I could shield you from the suffering." Rasheeda's response was stern and bitter, saying, "Protect me by lying to me, by making decisions without me." As the relationship's cracks widened and their emotional distance grew more apparent, Rasheeda started to distance herself from Kirk, who knew that he had disappointed her in the worst way possible, despite the fact that her remarks felt like a slap in the face. The future seemed bleak, and he could not change the past. She had changed as the public outcry over Rasheeda's mental illness intensified. She was no longer the same woman who had supported Kirk through thick and thin. Instead, she was spending more time with her friends and family in an attempt to find solace and strength in those who really supported her. And the media had learned about the situation, and the stories kept coming out. The public demanded more information about the hidden child, including the child's identity, age, and the reason Kirk had kept them hidden for so long. Jasmine Blue was the most agitated, but Kirk was under intense pressure from the media to provide answers. Declared that she knew the child's mother, a woman who had allegedly spent years in a covert relationship with Kirk, and that, in addition to having this child, Kirk has been leading a double life because of a complete covert relationship that no one is aware of, as Jasmine hinted at in a live interview, which further fueled the controversy. Claimed that Rasheeda was unaware of Kirk's long-term relationship with his child's mother, and she even mentioned a period when Kirk had concealed this relationship from everyone, including his closest friends. As the report went viral, fans hurried to determine whether it was true or just more drama on Jasmine's part. When reality fans questioned on social media, could Kirk really have been living a double life all this time? Rasheeda couldn't help but feel even more deceived, as everyone died in curiosity. "I don't even know if I can look at him anymore," Rasheeda said to her sister in a private chat, adding, "This isn't just about a child." Each time she thought she had a firm grasp on the issue, another shocking revelation surfaced. Now that she knew about the possible affair, Kirk had kept his child from her, and she was in almost unbearable pain over this unexpected discovery. After seeing the highs and lows of Rasheeda's marriage, her sister was speechless. Even the strongest woman had her breaking point, and she was aware of Rasheeda's might. "It concerns all of the things he has been keeping from me. After years of him lying to me, I'm starting to doubt everything." Rasheeda was at a loss for what to do after the man she had trusted with her heart proved to be cruel. "You can't keep living like this," she whispered quietly. "You need to think about what's best for you, for your own peace of mind." While Rasheeda struggled with the reality, Kirk continued to try to salvage what remained of their relationship. He tried calling, messaging, and even visiting her home, but each time he failed, he was unable to connect with her. "She was someone entirely different," Kirk said. "I just need you to understand Rasheeda," during one of their heated arguments. And Rasheeda shook her head. "I messed up. I know I did, but I'm asking for a chance to make it right," she added. And when Kirk added, "I want to fix this because I love you," Rasheeda was met with a chilly silence. As the drama unfolded, fans were left with more questions than answers. Would Rasheeda ever be able to move past the betrayal? "You can't fix this, Kirk," she tearfully said. "What's broken between us cannot be fixed by you. You and I are not the only ones affected. All comes down to trust, which you can never regain." The public's reaction was still divided, with some fans still wishing for a reconciliation and others believing Rasheeda deserved better than Kirk's deceit. But the media continued to chronicle every step, and the emotional roller coaster was far from over. Evident, and nobody had any idea where the story would go next, and their silence had become louder than Kirk's. Following a string of unanswered messages and missed calls, Kirk sat by himself in his car, parked a few blocks away from Rasheeda's boutique, hoping to see her, if only briefly, but she didn't show up that day or the following. Disappeared into a shell of anger, heartache, and betrayal, and to be honest, no one held her accountable. Inside her home, Rasha was attempting to control the flood of emotions still engulfing her. Her mother had come to offer temporary support, but even that proved difficult. "You have to leave him for good." One evening at dinner, her mother said. Rasheeda looked up, exhausted from restless nights and with puffy eyes, wondering what else he might be concealing. "I don't know, Mama," she said. Stayed in the room long after they were said because they revealed who this man truly is. Sheltering a child, Rasheeda. Perhaps everything, maybe. I don't know this man at all. But the universe wasn't done shocking Rasheeda. As she was starting to think about therapy and possibly even separation, Jasmine Blue, who seemed to be craving Rasheeda, revealed yet another shocking fact. Not the child or the betrayal, but the unsettling knowledge that the man she had built a life with was a stranger with a familiar face. As screenshots of messages, old photos, and blurry documents started to flood her account with more attention or possibly retaliation, fans were shocked and wondered if this was another child. While most of the images were jumbled and unclear, one in particular stood out: a fake birth certificate on which the mother's name was not Jasmine and the father's was Kirk Frost. Fans swarmed to Kirk and Rasheeda's social media accounts, speculating about another woman and demanding clarification. In the comment sections, some accused Jasmine of fabricating the certificate, while others questioned whether Kirk had fathered another child behind Rasheeda's back. Believed that Kirk's shady past had always been more complicated than he had disclosed. Meanwhile, Kirk was in a downward spiral, not speaking to Jasmine since the first secret was brought to light. And he was hurrying to call his legal team to see if there was another child. However, he was afraid because he recalled that night which had occurred in Miami more than 10 years ago at a Yes. He remembered the woman, Tamra, a promoter who was smart, ambitious, and attractive. He thought they had a brief affair. Had she really given birth to my child and kept it a secret? Or was this Jasmine playing a sick game? Kirk remembers being alone, vulnerable, and drunk. He was shocked when she said, "I was wondering, when you'd call in an almost too soft voice. Is that true? That child?" Kirk questioned, eschewing the small conversation. After a moment of hesitation, Tamara said softly, "Mine? Yes, I tried to tell you once years ago, but you were married. And I walked away when I realized you weren't interested. A 12-year-old boy named Kevin has been inquiring about you, as though the earth beneath." Kirk had collapsed and everything had fallen apart once more. Another child, another secret, another betrayal. Kirk's stomach dropped and he was unable to speak, and the silence continued interminably until Tamara finally broke it. Add to the list. It's time, Kevin, a youngster who was unaware that his father was involved in a significant scandal, would also suffer, because Kirk knew he had to inform Rasheeda about the child and his previous transgressions in a straightforward and unapologetic manner. But he was unable to bear the burden of Rasheeda. Meanwhile, had already started filming her scenes for the upcoming season of the show, with cameras ready to record every spontaneous moment after producers found out about the new information. She didn't hold back, first with Tamara and then with Jasmine, asking in a confessional how many more women are going to come. After her friends rallied around her, Carly Red moaned and sobbed when she arrived at her house, saying, "Girl, I'm at a loss for words. Beyond the shadows, how many more children does Kirk have? I'm not just insulted, I'm ashamed and angry." The shocks didn't end there, though, as rumors began to circulate a few days after Kirk contacted Tamara. "This is beyond anything I've seen," Carly said. "I just want peace, Carly." "Kirk is out here building a whole basketball team behind your back," Rasheeda added. "I only want the whole truth." Rasheeda's forced laugh soon turned to tears. Rasheeda couldn't escape it after blogs leaked images of Tamara and Kevin, and Kirk was now officially labeled as a serial cheater and a secret family man. The betrayal had gone public, and her humiliation was now part of the headlines. And even her boutique customers whispered behind her back, and strangers stared at her when she went grocery shopping. Rasheeda's words, "I've tried to keep our family together, and I don't want you to thinking this is how love is supposed to look," meant more to her than any apology Kirk could offer. "We love you, Mom, and we've got your back no matter what," she said in a private moment with her sons. Her oldest son nodded subtly. "I'm not here to defend myself," Kirk said, his eyes downcast. "I'm here to tell you the truth, unwilling to give up." Kirk asked Rasheeda if she would meet with him without any cameras or producers, and she grudgingly agreed. They met in a quiet park close to their house, where there was a lot of awkward tension. Rasheeda stood motionless and stared after hearing the whole truth. "I have another child. His name is Kevin, and he is 12, she added. "It's real, but I didn't realize until last week." Whispering, "I can't do this," she said. Kirk responded, "I know I've hurt you in ways I can't fix, but he's my son, and he deserves to know me." The moment lingered between them, with a woman on one side and a guy who was anxious to make amends on the other. "I thought Jasmine was at her lowest point with Kirk, but she is on a whole new level." They both knew that whatever occurred next would permanently alter their lives as they sat in quiet while the wind rustled through the trees. It was now about what Rasheeda was ready to tolerate and how much more she could endure before she permanently left. It was no longer just about forgiveness. Rasheeda sat on the chilly park seat and stared straight ahead while Kirk moved. Rasheeda spoke softly but sharply as she turned slowly to Kirk. Their quiet wasn't one of calm. Rather, it was heavy, oppressive, and filled with words neither of them could find the right way to express. Rasheeda's innermost feelings prevented her from finding closure, perhaps never, even though Kirk had admitted everything, or at least everything she currently knew. Kirk lowered his head. After years of convincing himself that he was shielding her from his errors, he was unable to respond truthfully. However, now that everything was public, he understood that the harm he had caused extended beyond their relationship to her soul. "Want you to meet Kevin," he continued. "Every time I forgave you, I lost a part of myself. Want me to meet the child you made when you were supposed to be building a future with me? You didn't ask for this." Kirk said gently, "I would rather not hide him like I did before." Rasheeda laughed bitterly. "He deserves a real life, and he deserves you to know him." "None of them did," Kirk responded quietly. And that was the part that Rasheeda found most upsetting, because Kirk wasn't at fault and the kids weren't complicit in the lies. They were merely innocent witnesses to his careless behavior. Rasheeda wasn't prepared to go into that world just yet. The treachery was still leaking beneath the surface, and the wounds were too fresh. Kirk started apologizing online in the days that followed, using thoughtful captions to own his mistakes, refrain from naming specific people, and attempt to lessen the harm, but it was too little, too late. His apologies were ignored by fans, and websites ripped him apart, portraying him as the ultimate manipulator. His apology was ridiculed by online memes, which also exposed his record of dishonesty and secrecy. Rasheeda refused to comply, stating plainly in a production meeting, "This is my life. I'm not going to perform my pain for views." Meanwhile, the scandal had sent statistics surging, and the producers of Love and Hip Hop had hit gold. They wanted more drama, more anguish, and more video. They started contacting other cast members, spreading rumors, and igniting disputes after Kirk found out. When requested to appear on the show, Tamara, Kevin's mother, originally declined. She consented, but only on the stipulation that there be no phony dramages. Reality, because the money and the opportunity to tell her kid the truth about his father on TV were too alluring. "This isn't how I wanted him introduced to the world," Kirk screamed at the filmmakers. However, it had already begun. The teasers had been cut, the cameras were rolling, and the audience was taking it all in. As Tamara and Kevin were set to take enter stage, Rasheeda remained stunned. "He's a kid, not a headline." She replied, "I'll think about it." It felt unreal when the day of the shoot finally arrived. And Kirk was clearly anxious as he stood outside the tiny cafe where the filming was happening. "Even if you don't speak, you should be there for the filming," one of the producers stated. Since it was their first time speaking, Kirk froze and said, "Hi." Kevin answered, "Hi," his voice cracking, and the cameras captured it all. First to arrive, Tamara held Kevin's hand. Kevin was tall for his age, silent, and had eyes that made Kirk think of photos from his own early years. As they sat down, Kirk gradually opened up, saying, "I didn't know." "I swear to you, Kevin, if I had known I would have been there, I would have done everything differently." Tamara remained close, protective but direct. preparing Kevin for this. But nothing could really prepare a child to meet the father he never understood existed. After giving him a long look, Kevin questioned why he didn't. And I made a lot of mistakes. But that wasn't about you, Kirk added after pausing. Kevin nodded, feeling the anguish in Kirk's words, but not really understanding it. While Rasheeda stood off camera, staring out the window. That was about me not being the man I should have been. Stay with my mom. Perhaps she wanted to see the boy. Perhaps she wanted to know whether Kirk meant what he said. Or perhaps she still had hope that things would improve even if they never returned to their previous state. But she didn't know why she had chosen to attend. Her eyes welled up with tears as she watched Kirk with Kevin, not because she had forgiven him or wanted him back. She remembered that no matter how much someone harmed you, if they were truly trying, they at least deserved a moment of grace. She saw something genuine, something human. When Kirk subsequently came up to her in the parking lot, she stood erect, crossed her arms and said, "You did good in there. He's a sweet kid, and thank you for coming." However, grace did not equate to reconciliation. "We're not there yet, Kirk, but we'll see. I was hoping that you wouldn't." "You're not why I came," she explained. "I came for him and maybe to see him for myself. I'm aware that I've asked for too many chances. But I'm hoping that one day you'll notice my effort and not only recall my errors." Without looking back, she said, "Perhaps we never will be." As the season of the show drew to a close, editors developed the most dramatic plot Love and Hip Hop had ever offered, and fans eagerly anticipated its debut. While insiders speculated that Rasheeda might be leaving permanently due to the success of her boutique, for once, Kirk wasn't trying to fabricate a story. He was just trying to be a better man. The question was whether this would be sufficient to restore his reputation. Kirk, on the other hand, was beginning anew, just with Kevin, but with himself by spending more time with his kids, going to therapy sessions, and avoiding public appearances. Regarding Kevin, his narrative was just getting started, but in a world where a dad he hardly knew will always be linked to cameras, views, and other things like that. Drama, only one thing emerged from it all. The truth, as you can always prevent. Anything unpleasant, and maybe it's not the publicity that breaks you. Everyone is forced to confront their true selves by the ensuing silence. And then the world suddenly sees the reality that Kirk has been working so hard to conceal. A broken home, a hidden child, and a mother who was tricked on national TV have angered supporters. Still attempting to comprehend the emotional outburst, the open admissions, and the lasting consequences. Even